bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits, you go to school.
Coffee with a Cop, first episode of the season. For you guys that don't know, rookies, this is a DD legend right here.
What up, Mendoza? It's probably a buttload of people that don't know who I am, but all the vets know I'm a DD Season Oneer. Been with Done Deal for a while. Just got a new job, so I had to work on some Saturdays, so took the season off. But I'll be out there, and all you new Tier 5s, like, you have to cover me. So.
The only reason I talk all this shit about being the best Tier 5 is because this man decided to take off the season and hand me the throne for the season. So
I don't know, Tier 5 is stacked.
Tier 5
yes, we are. Yes, we are.
This season.
Bro,
yes, we are.
Just to have Ray as a Tier 5 is ridiculous.
But let me tell you, Ray's one of the biggest anomalies of Done Deal. Like, this is one of the great things about this league. Like, we have all these things that nobody would have ever thought. We have a 280-pound vegan in the league. It's, I mean, like, come on. That's what makes Done Deal so great. You never see.
We're multifaceted.
Yeah, you see things that you never think you will see in a regular day of life.
Exactly.
We're all there.
All right, so this is the first episode. We were kind of delayed, schedule conflicts. Roger just got a new house. Mendoza was fixing out his schedule and stuff, and me, of course, just everywhere. So
Still figuring out what's a taser, what's a gun.
Yeah, I don't even know right now.
So I'm more in as like a guest now. Like it's hard. It's hard to keep up with Done Deal. I think this is the first season that no extra people could be in the chat. So like, I'm not in the chat. I saw Anthony Nunez the other day. He was kind of bummed he couldn't be in the chat. That's life. I mean, we have how many players?
We have 100 players and influx of very new talent, new to DD, old from the flag world, and the talent base is really, really good. This will be the most competitive Done Deal season to yet. I mean, I've only been around a couple seasons, but just going back from knowing who's been in it before and stuff like that, the amount of talent we got in the league this year, it's insane.
Oh yeah, and every
You're officially not a rookie now, right?
No, I'm not a rookie. I'm officially a veteran. Going into I've played 2 tournaments, and this will be my second full season in Done Deal.
Yeah, I mean, well, every season, like, you could tell, like, the talent gets better, more people are coming in. I remember when there was nobody that played in Red Zone and Done Deal.
I think,
or played in tournaments and travel tournaments, and now to have like all this talent, and it helps people like me like learn the game of flag football, and like the average Joes that don't go out there and compete at Tropical at night and on these tournaments. So it's really cool for the average Joe to kind of like learn.
Now that you bring up Tropical, I'm sure Marin can attest to this. What a different animal playing on that turf on a Saturday morning as opposed to those that normally play on Monday and Wednesday nights there, that we just get killed by the humidity at night. But this time we were killed by the heat, the humidity, the sun, the dehydration, the hot turf, the blisters on the feet, the cleats melting. It's a whole new experience for those who were always complaining about the grass and this and that.
Would you say it's worse than the grass than what we played in?
You know what?
Because we played in sand.
I mean,
dunes.
hot-wise,
we had sand dunes.
Yeah,
so the field is a lot more stable because you know every step you make, you're gonna hit on an even spot.
Yeah.
But that heat is a whole different animal that I don't think many people were expecting. No, we had our tents and stuff, but just the field, that turf, it's on a whole other level.
Yeah. I mean, what I do, and I mean, Lulu's the one that put me on game. He's like, hey, take off your cleats and put on your sandals or whatever.
When you're repping?
When you're repping. That way your feet get the break.
Okay.
We did see a huge influx of injuries, and that, I mean, unfortunately, that's part of football.
Now that we talk about injuries, we want to send out prayers to Mo to heal up quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. Sucks to have that happen to one of our better players, but prayers with you, man, and I know you'll come back stronger than you were.
And with prayers also, let's send out prayers to Pat
and his family.
Yeah, Pat and his family going through a tough situation, as most of you know. Georgie, the Cowboys captain, my captain, he put very close friend to the family of Pat. But if you guys can, any little bit that you can donate, whatever it is, there's the Venmo and the Cash App information is on the news chat. So whatever you can send over, you know, they've been out of work for a couple of weeks now, attending to their personal problems. So if any of us as a DD family, whatever we can do to help them, let's go out and give them a hand, please.
And yeah, just keep them in your thoughts and prayers always, man. Like Roger was saying, we're a family at the end of the day, so let's get through this hump together, man.
Let's go over a little recap of week 1.
Yep.
Maybe teams that we didn't expect to be where they're at.
The Falcons.
Our team included. Well, the Cowboys included. A lot of people that are not within the Cowboys locker room did not expect a 4-0 week. We kept it very calmly, went out there and played. Some people say our schedule was favorable, this, whatnot, whatever. We still went out there, we played the schedule we were given, and we performed.
Who did you guys play?
We played the Jaguars in game 1, which was Laura Jules. It was Laura's first game playing quarterback, whatever, I guess. So here come more adjustments. I expect them to be a lot better next time. I mean, it's Eric Laura, come on. And we took care of them 4-1. That was our first game. Our second game was Chink and the Packers, which, whatever, it doesn't matter whether it's Robbie or Jen. It's not like it's going to make a difference going forward. We took care of them 4-1. Then Chris D, baby, thank you for that interception. I'll never forget you. That's why I sponsor your segment, Cantus Corner. We took care of them 4-2. And that game wasn't as close as, big as, that game was closer than the score might indicate as a 4-2 game, because we were right then and there. And then we took care of the Bears 3-2, which was our toughest game, that fourth game, that last game out there on the field where your feet are just burning, and it gets to the point where even me as a fat fuck, I just want to keep running around and moving my feet and standing on that hot turf of how hot it was. So then we also got another 4-0 surprise that nobody thought would be there, which was the Chargers, Eddie with the 2 tier 5s. And George Ramos, good job, my man, representing the tier 5s with that pick 6. It doesn't matter that you mauled Nick Garcia. You got it and you ran it back, baby.
I like that.
All right, so playing 4 games, now that you bring that up in the hot sun, do you think that should be changed or something that...
I think that's something the DDPA and we're going to stay at tropical mainly because that turf does add a different factor that maybe not everyone is aware of yet. But I think if we go to an extra week, 1 less game a week, I think it'll be more beneficial for everybody. Everyone stays more hydrated,
healthy.
Maybe a less amount of injuries, even though you can come back with a pro and con on that because Mo got hurt on the first game of but still, the less wear and tear on your body on a 1 daily attrition should be better.
So what I was thinking, I love playing at tropical, don't get me wrong. Yeah, the turf has its pros and cons, but so does playing in sand dunes. We definitely need to do something about, maybe adding an extra week. If that makes the registration go up a little bit, that's something that, maybe we should all talk about as a group.
I mean, I'm sure that'll, like, the commissioners will get together in the PA, and I don't think they'll probably not be able to change anything this season because they already have the agreement with Tropical.
Yeah,
of course. It's already too late.
Yeah, anything that we're talking about now is probably just for changes for
yeah.
season 15 and going forward.
Yeah.
And for you guys that don't know, Coffee with a Cop, that's the name of our segment. It's the Tiers 5 perspective.
Yeah.
You have your captain's corner, you have all the smoke, basically, the top tier guys. So this is just perspective from the lower echelon.
Yeah, you don't have to score 8 touchdowns a week to have a voice in this league.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's a beautiful thing about
You can
WNBA
just go
guys.
with a guy like me with 2 catches a week and you're gonna get perspective.
But when you do that, you gotta talk a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And we all know I don't hide from that.
How do you feel with playing in Tropical Park and the changes? You got to see the transition from...
Oh no, you can tell definitely the league is going in the right direction. This league is a brotherhood. I mean, we all look for each other for anything we might need before anything else. Anybody going through anything, the league is your rock. Anything you might need, whatever, whether it's a body shop, you go to Christian Perez. You need any legal advice, you go to Eddie, you go to Ray. I mean, everybody here is willing to help for anything that's here. I mean, come on, it's a fucking brotherhood. It's a big fraternity.
Sure. And I think, so coming from being outside of Dundee right now, I love where the league is going, and I'm pretty sure Andres runs like the social media aspect of the league. But I'd be like interested in like seeing like maybe they take a little off Andres' plate. He does a lot for the league, and like appoint someone else to maybe be like a social media manager.
So you're saying Joan doesn't do enough?
Well, I don't know.
I'm just that.
It's not
Just to fill Mendoza in, I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're alternating commissioners now.
Through
so
the
so this season, Joan is the commissioner of the league.
Oh, okay.
So
but I mean, even then, they all do their thing.
No, they all have a
still
big
have-
workload. So
yeah.
I think maybe to delegate maybe some of the small positions.
Yeah, I mean, just so if you're on Twitter, you get all of like they don't have 100 followers on Twitter. There's 100 people in Done Deal, so all these Done Deal people better get on that.
Yeah,
because I'm not
yeah.
in Done Deal. I follow on Twitter, but also like
And we need to follow the
the
YouTube channel.
the YouTube channel,
Subscribe to the YouTube
and then
channel.
maybe just see a little bit more on Instagram.
Yeah.
They put the dud and the stud, but
Maybe more
for
content.
people like me, I feel disconnected from Done Deal, and like I get like a lot of my news from you guys.
What? It's crazy what happens when you're not part of that
I
chat.
know it's well the chat. All right, it's pros and cons. I love like talking shit on the chat, but then also I like getting work done. It's hard when you get in a rant, and
There's 700 messages.
but I
you
miss
gotta
it.
scroll
I
through
miss
everything.
being able to wake up in the morning and go in the chat and be like, Jeremy, you fucking suck. It's
Guys,
just cause.
now that we're in a little bit of the shit talking, let's not forget to mention our new Owen of the league, Mr. Juan Sanchez, Mr. Owen 10. Since that guy has come and done deal, he hasn't even come close to sniffing a win. Step your fucking game up. I know you better than that, bro. Before Lewis gets your ass out of Raider Nation. Let's go.
Damn, that's crazy.
Speaking of Lewis, I heard he had a terrible week.
Well, that goes. So what happens when you draft Owen?
So you're saying if he didn't draft Juan, he would have had a much better week?
I'm pretty sure he would have.
I mean, okay, so from what I've seen, the name of the quarterback was Tommy, right?
Tommy, yes.
Tommy, stud quarterback.
Yeah, he's played with Lewis in
They won
both
the
tournaments,
NCAA
yeah.
Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah, they played together in tournaments.
But the main thing from what I've seen, I don't think he was targeting Lewis as much
As
other quarterbacks in the past, like a Chris J.
or JD
Wood or JD, you know.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to see much of their games because of how the scheduling is set up now. And the only two times I looked up, Juan was dropping a pass on both plays, so not much for me to say about their team. And I heard Lewis scream for the first time ever in Done Deal, so I know it must have not been a very
I've
good
never
week
heard
over there in
Lewis
Raiders
I
camp.
haven't
I've
seen
never
him
heard
scream
Lewis
yet, but I
raise
did
his
see
voice.
that.
He's always been calm and
Calm,
collected.
collected.
Yeah, well, last Saturday, I don't know if it was the Heat or Juan, one of the two, but
I mean, you would think Tommy and Lewis would have a connection playing and winning in tournaments, but maybe that's just an easy switch to flip going.
you know what? One thing is you can't count them out. Last year's Raiders started basically almost the same. They started 1-3,
Yeah.
and they ended up making the playoffs. So we'll see where
But
they
that was
go
after a
from here.
big trade. That was with the JD.
Well, this year they don't have to make the trade. They have their quarterback. They don't have to go out there and look for a quarterback. So maybe just a couple adjustments.
Just
And
throw that boy up to Lewis.
Yeah, you would think it's that easy, but I think, like, I remember when we first started, there was a big drop off. Align was a captain. Align was like the best player. in
The line was up there, yeah.
Yeah, he was the best player in Done Deal.
And now look at it. And he can't even catch a ball.
I know.
And he had a broken finger when he was up there.
Exactly. So there's not that much of a big drop off now between tiers, and
No.
that's just probably like the greatest thing.
Yeah.
You know, that we're able to find that balance, but you still have, you know, your role players. You know, okay, hey, you're gonna rush, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. It's not just one player all over the field. You know. So we'll see what we could get from there.
I feel our tier 5s are stacked.
Our tier 5s are stacked. Huh?
Yeah.
You got
It's really
Arnold
tough.
Boo, who has no business being in a tier 5. No business being in a tier 5. Just from watching that guy play outside of Done Deal.
And you got
Laz Alawa has no business being a tier 5.
That's the Steelers.
The Steelers tier 5.
Okay.
I mean, he almost played better quarterback than their captain.
Bro,
the few
that-
snaps he was in there.
I seen him. He could throw the ball. Man.
Yeah.
Why isn't he a quarter? Why isn't he a full-time quarterback?
I mean, I don't know what's up with Drew. Maybe Drew should hand over the reins and go out there out wide and Laz just
Hey, don't
zip
get me
him in
wrong.
there.
Drew needs
Nah,
the
I
ball
love
in his
Drew.
hand.
I love Drew.
Drew needs the ball in his hand, and he's a playmaker. But if you have someone that can get you the ball, Drew, let him get it.
And if that worked out, Drew's not an idiot. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot more like handoff play and stuff like that moving forward. That he gets a little more trust with Laz, because he did that with Ray. I'm not gonna talk shit, but I don't know. From what I saw, his handoff play with Ray was not the best, so he might be a little has some traumatic rememberings of that.
What Willis team do you guys think has the best chance of turning it over this week?
You mean like a team that performed poorly in week one?
Yes.
So I would look to my number one team, and I know that contradicts everything I just said about Owen and about having the handicap of Juan on your team. But going based on track record, going based on Lewis's competitive fire, I would look for the Raiders and record-wise the Patriots, for those two teams to be the two teams that bounce back and make a strong comeback for week 2.
So there was a big trade, right?
Yes, sir, where Mr. Andy Baca realized he couldn't do it without me and had to go look for the help of another captain to get some wins. Even though, as we're filming here, you guys recently got the text, unfortunately Pat will be dropping out and he will be replaced by Jaime, who is a great player. I am actually playing on a team with him now, and I played against him a couple times. Great player, and he's gonna be great for Dundee.
What's the biggest difference? Because Jaime did play in the basketball league. How comparable is he to Pat in your perspective?
Well, they're two different players. Pat is a ball hawk. Pat is a guy that it's an undescribable motor, because you look at Pat, and I'm guilty of it. I remember last season, our first scrimmage that we went to Macmillan Park, I said, that's the Vikings captain? Like, okay. Little chubby kid, whatever. Until then I saw the first ball thrown to the opposite side of him and how quickly he closed the gap. And then I said, oh, okay, that's why he's a captain, this and that. Jaime is just a faster, much skinnier version than Patterson. Maybe a little plus offensively, but less defensively, but they're a very comparable type of player.
So would you say the Dundee PA made a good choice?
Yeah, and this one I can actually say you guys did a good job.
Bro, we get so much shit for everything.
I understand. It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was to do a 1-over-1, I would take Pat over Jaime, but
They're
once
good.
again, I don't know your inners or who was considered or not but this is something that's very comparable.
DDPA, tell us who.
Yeah, DDPA. Why don't you tell us?
I don't think we're allowed to like bring up.
We're in an open thing here. We can disclose that.
Don't worry about
Like
it.
you should-
I stopped recording. Go ahead. Don't worry about it.
I feel like you should be allowed to
Everything's off
talk
the
about
record.
it after
Yeah, the
somebody gets
transaction
in.
has gone through.
Like
Um,
nobody
that-
can go and change
look,
anything now.
Nah, if you feel like you can, that's fine.
Yeah, we don't want to pressure you.
Yeah, if you want to
We don't wanna
preserve the
pressure you into
integrity
something.
of the DTPA and Peaky, we understand.
All right, Biggie is a good tier 1 for DDPA. Chris D was as well as last year, but Peaky's very involved. We've been bombarded with a lot of stuff.
I have a tough question for you. Maybe it might be tough or not, but fortunately for us and people receiving this content, you're the only one that's been part of both DDPAs so far. What would you consider the difference between season 13's DDPA and season 14's DDPA?
There was a lot of growing pains with the first DDPA, so I felt like we made a lot of like, I wouldn't say stupid decisions, I would say more like rookie mistakes, like allowing Enzo to trade his whole team to another team. I don't think that would have happened this year.
That's goated.
Yes, that's
forever
something.
in the done deal.
And it sucked because two of
Is
them
that the guy that can cover Kevin on a Hishan goal?
on a Haitian. That guy, yeah, the Captain Slayer is what they call him.
Oh, okay.
That happened only because 2 of the 5 DDPA members were not allowed to vote.
Because they were part of the trade.
Because we were a part of the trade.
Right.
So we're there, and we're watching it transpire in front of us, and everyone's like, yeah, let it go through. And we're like, no, that's a fucking stupid trade. You know, but unfortunately.
So what
I've
was
been
the
there.
final voting on that? Like a 2-1 between the
Bro, I think
other
it was
3?
unanimous.
It was 3-0?
It was 3-0.
So it would have passed anyway? What you're saying?
Yeah, because you guys
Was it
would have
3-2?
voted against it, and then it would have been
I think
3-2.
It probably would have passed regardless, but that's a conversation that we don't know what would happen because
Yeah.
maybe one of us would
Would've
have
been able to
You would have been
Okay.
influenced somebody else.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly. So I mean, whatever. It happened. Whatever happened already. But I think this year we've had made a lot less mistakes. I wouldn't say any of our.
I feel that what's better for you guys this year is that you have more guys that are involved outside of Done Deal and that know the flag world a little bit better.
And I was gonna bring that up. I'm not very involved in the flag world outside of Done Deal, so getting their perspectives is so much better because I didn't know how you played football until today.
Yeah.
When they showed me him hosting up a trophy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, this guy looks pretty good, you know, because I just know him from basketball. But yeah, man. So it's good to have people know the other players that are coming in.
I feel that's a very strong point to be a DDPA member, to know more about flag than just the Done Deal world.
Yeah, but
Because that's how you know where the talent is coming.
There has to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously all 5 of you are involved with Done Deal, so all 5 of you know how Done Deal works and what's good or bad for Done Deal, but not maybe all of you know about each player's strength and weaknesses because you're not out there seeing them every Monday and Wednesday at the league we don't mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's easier to say for tiers 1, 2, 3, some 4. But
No, but I
outside of
believe
you
that
in tier
applies
5,
to every tier because
But
even
outside
like
of-
me and
outside of
Lazo
you-
who play out
Okay,
there in the
so-
league that we don't mention, we're aware of the talent that's around us even if we're just tier 5s.
You are, but you also participate. The tier 5s, they're not always out there because this is fun for them. For you guys, you go out there and compete, and it's harder for tier 5s to have more of those opportunities because not everyone's trying to pick up a tier 5 to run it at red zone.
No, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, man. We'll see.
I think that was Roger putting in his
2 cents.
his ballot for next year.
No, my
DDPA.
candidacy for DDPA, no, I feel those guys get enough ribbing. I get enough ribbing on the chat without
having these
being
big
involved with the
decisions.
DDPA. I leave those decisions to Ray Marin and, to Chris Marin and Ray Martinez. Let them handle the big stuff. I'm over here cool being part of segments and talking shit.
Speaking of Ray Martinez, I heard you mention his name a little earlier. You had something to say about him or to him or.
What was that about? The vegan and the anomaly
Was that all?
of the league?
I thought there was more behind that.
I felt a little animosity there, man.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm trying to keep it civil. We have a big matchup this weekend. Now, I can speak on his behalf on this too. Once you see that game line up, you will hear both of our mouths because that's just how we are.
Yeah.
So you'll know where the Seahawks and Cowboys will be playing,
You don't have
what
to be
field
in the
will be
stadium,
playing.
That's gonna be a good shit talking matchup because I mean, no offense to you, Roger. I just think I've seen a lot more shit talking on the field from Ray. You know, you play your game and you do the shit talking after the fact.
That's true.
From what I've seen.
We'll see.
But Ray's a dog, man.
Ray's the type of guy who immediately when
I
he
go
steps
based
on
on
that field,
matchups. If there's shit talking going my way, I ain't gonna stay quiet
You
to
need-
that.
yeah,
And
we
we
need,
all know Ray ain't staying quiet.
Of course.
we need a dedicated
So
video,
I wanna rep that-
videographer
I wanna rep that game.
to be watching and filming.
that should be a good game. Looking forward to playing the best team in our division. I will go ahead and say that. It'll give us a good measuring stick to see where we're at as a Cowboys team and where we're headed. So let's see.
Realistically, you guys think you're going 8-0 this
I
week?
mean, look, man, it's you can have 4 tier 1s on your team, and going 4-0 is a very hard thing. There's a lot of elements to going 4-0. You can have the most talented team all 4 games, and you got multiple variables to deal with. The heat, the refs. I'm not saying the refs are bad or not bad, but one key call here and there might win it for us, might lose it for us. There's just a lot of variables. Going 4-0 is a very, really, really, really hard thing to do in Done Deal. Being part of it now, this is my 5th week between the 2 seasons of 4 games. And it's just very, very hard to go out there and go 4-0.
They would say that Andy was drafted a little too early at Q. What do you have to say for your boy Andy?
Well, I mean, look, so it's be very easy for me to come here and selfishly say, fuck Andy, he only threw me 2 passes, whatever. But when you got guys like Mark and Georgie who are wide open every single play, you would really just have to be super selfish to like complain about anything. When we're winning games 4-1, 4-2, and they're really not close. Like if you look at our tier 1 and our tier 2, they 8 and 8 and 8 and 8, and there wasn't one game where either of them came to being remotely close. Stopped, I'm sorry. And if it wasn't for Andy getting colorblind on a couple passes against the Bears and throwing the ball right to Daniel Elias, I think we would have continued that dominance of winning every game by more than double digits. Now, not taking anything away from the Bears, what you see on paper is not what you're getting out there on the field. In the sense that you might look at them on paper and be like, oh, okay, after here, the talent is a complete drop-off. But Dusty and that team he's put together, looks like he drafted it accordingly, and they're all...
Hey, he learned. I guess he learned from the tournament, man, because, you know, he drafted a team that is well-rounded.
Yeah.
That's what we thought we had in the tournament too, but...
And shouts out to Daniel Elias, man, because everyone was saying that he couldn't play without his brother, and
Yeah.
and look, he's eating right now.
Speedy recovery to you, Daniel Elias, too. Don't think you hit out there thinking that no one saw you get hurt last night.
What happened? Were you there? You saw?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of the hip flexor he pulled, but from what I was talking to him last night, but he said that he should be good to go by Saturday, and hopefully he is.
You guys play tomorrow?
We do play tomorrow, yes.
In regards to Dusty, I know like a couple seasons ago, Chris D was like, I want dogs. And when I think of a dog, I think of Dusty.
Dusty is a dog.
He is the biggest dog mentality. Everyone always underestimates him. He wasn't a captain his first captainhood was in the tournament.
So my top 3 motors in done deal are Dusty, and in no particular order, are Dusty, Ernie, and Georgie, my captain. Like, those guys, for some reason, whatever, they go 110%, 80 plays a day. Like, they just don't get tired. They keep going and going and going. And as someone who's playing for Georgie and has played with Ernie numerous games, that's something you just feed off. When just you got these people going and they don't get tired, it's like, how do I give up on them?
Yeah, it pushes you to go a little more. But yeah, I'm rooting for the Bears. I love Dusty, even though he didn't draft me in the tournament like he said he would. But
I wish we would have drafted you instead of Matthew Alfonso. But I mean, at the end of the day, we still needed someone to get us the ball. So let's talk a little bit about the trades that have transpired. Obviously, the big one on the board was Captain Baca himself looking for extra help since he couldn't win with Devin. I mean, if you have a guy that says, I have no idea how to connect with Lulu, you don't deserve to have him as your quarterback anyways, because any guy with one arm and half a leg can throw the ball to that guy. But anyway, Devin, you can't connect with him, we get it. So to the Patriots went Baca, Carlos, and CP.
And now they have Jaime.
And now they have Jaime, who who took over for Pat, who unfortunately had to drop. And then to the Titans went Julio, Marshall, and Alec Orda. Let me tell you, Alec Orda for a tier 4 has a motor on him that's pretty good. I refed a couple of their games this past week, and he's very good.
yeah. And that's a done deal vet.
Hey, that's a vet, and not only is he a vet, but he continues to work on his game.
Yeah, he's
gotten better at route running, hands.
And now Julio is the captain of the Titans.
So do you think the Titans have a chance of making the playoffs?
Oh, no chance.
No chance?
Who are they going to cover? You have, and I think Orda is missing either week 2 or week 3, so one of those weeks they're going to be 4 strong, which means they're going to have Devin out there.
But Devin could play D.
Come on, let's be serious.
I mean, okay.
Well,
look.
he played enough D on the Seahawks last year to put them in a position where you could trade and get a solid trade out of them. That's just rough, though.
Like I say, he's a tier 1 at defense.
No, Marsh. I would think Marsh is the best defender on that team.
Well, Julio could cover too.
But like, if
He's
you're
fast.
But Julio's probably rushing in that team.
But are you
No,
gonna
not
put
who's
Julio to
rushing
cover
on that
like
team.
Lewis?
If I'm playing 4 strong, I'm not gonna put Julio rushing.
No, Julio's not.
You're gonna want
Julio can't rush with Devin and Marsh. Even with Alec Orda back there, Julio's gonna need to cover. But I think Marsh athletically can like challenge up balls like a little better than Julio and stuff like that. A little more physical. I've never heard Julio talk. I'm also not in done deal, so I don't know like what his leadership on the team would be like. I don't know if any of you have heard him take over a game like that.
Not that I'm doubting Julio's, mentality or
ability,
leadership
yeah.
ability.
I still think
Marshall-
the leader on that team is going to be Devin.
Devin's definitely, I think, gonna be the leader of the offense. But I think when it comes to defense, Marshall might take over the defense.
And that tells you, look how many people we're guessing are going to be leaders or taking over. That just tells you where they're at. So,
Yeah, well, but also, who knows? Maybe week 2 comes around and you see like that
Turn
strong
it around.
presence. And
Yeah.
You never know. It's a done deal. Crazier things have happened.
you're absolutely right about that, but we're just going based on track records and what we know.
To me, probably gonna be the game of the week, and not as far as excitement, but just to see where the Patriots stand. I want to see the Patriots versus the Chargers, and hopefully the Patriots can turn it around here, man. Because
Is that the Patriots' first game?
that's actually the first game.
All right. So yeah, no
That's
chance.
an 8 o'clock game.
No,
That's an 8
no
o'clock game.
time for any growing pains. They gotta get right to it.
Yeah.
It's a big game.
We'll see what Mr. Baga is made of.
Well, I mean, that's been a recipe to done deal success in the past. Is 2 captains.
Yeah, but he's not really going to have 2 captains. Remember that Mr. Patterson, unfortunately, is dropping off.
That's true, but you
He'll
would
have
think-
Jaime there,
You would
yes.
think Jaime is a captain equivalent, not maybe skill-wise to Patterson, but still in the captain category.
Do you think
It'll still be Jaime's first go-around in done
That's
deal,
true.
so that takes a little adjustment and humbling to get used to.
But at that point, he could have Baca run the team.
so? It's Baga's team now,
Yeah.
Yes.
because from what I hear, that Jaime probably wouldn't have even been the captain this time around in done deal. What do you think?
Maybe not, maybe because it's his first go-through and he doesn't know the league, but talent-wise,
He's there.
I would say
He'll be
he's
up there?
definitely in that top 15 to 25 players.
Who would be throwing, do you think?
Oh no, Baga will
Baga-
definitely be thrown.
Baga's definitely gonna be throwing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is a big testament to the Chargers. Are they the real deal? 4-0,
With 2 tier 5s.
2 tier 5s, which I don't know if that's ever been. And
I mean, mind you, yes, we did have a team with 2 tier 5s make the championship last year. But in my opinion, it was just a different dynamic of team built.
that's true.
But you know what? Until they get beat, they're out there proving it that they can do it. And more power to Eddie for drafting and putting his team in the position to win.
I think the captain has everything to do with if having 2 tier 5s is either successful or not. Because he has 2 tier 2s and 2 tier 5s.
Yes, correct.
So I mean not in done deal. There's not really a big drop off now, like I was mentioning earlier. But if the captain could put his players in the right position,
I mean, we tried that last year as the Bills, but our 2 tier 2s were definitely not as good as Eddie's tier 2s.
but not only that, Big Bird got injured. So I mean,
Yeah, you're running 4 strong.
you don't know where you would be if Bird didn't get injured.
Believe it or not, that actually benefited us.
Yeah, because
Because they kept our 3 best players on the field at all times. So we never had 2 tier 5s on the field at the same time.
But
as
that's
the
only
Big
one
Bird.
drive, right?
No, that's the whole game.
Because they never picked up another.
We
tier
never
5.
picked up a 5th player.
So they were
So
running
we
4
went 4
the
strong.
entire time.
So I'm
So
saying as far as if Big Bird was
no,
how many
it's
drives?
only one drive each one
No,
sets
it's-
out.
it's
So that
3
means me
drives.
and Big Bert would have been on the field
For the
together
captain,
numerous
tier 2
times.
and tier 3.
I mean, you can put yourself in the position to where it only happens once, right? So like, you
No,
have
no.
both tier
There's no
5s
way
start-
you're only gonna have
You
your
have
2
to
tier
run-
5s
yeah.
once.
Because your captain has to
Because
sub
your
out,
tier
your
3
tier
has
2 has to sub out.
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So no
I'm,
matter
I'm overthinking it.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you, it definitely benefited us and me stats wise, of course. But it benefited us as a team because I was the worst player on the field at all times.
Yeah.
And that's not bad.
So we had our, not because of that, we had our 3 best players never come off the field. And in my opinion, if Brett never gets hurt, I think we would have made it a lot further. But unfortunately, the last game of week 3,
His knee, right?
is groin.
His groin.
When he slid into that track part of that field back there,
Don't have to
Ronnie.
deal with that anymore.
That's another
Another-
one of the positives about Tropical. So talk a little bit about your team. How's your team? What do you think about your team? How is it playing with Manny the Clown? I mean, I'm sorry, with Manny Ochiriak on your team?
I have no complaints about my team.
How's that Corralejo?
Everyone's good. Lulu, Shamir, Raymet, Manny. I think as a first time playing with these guys, and I feel like we have good chemistry, man.
What was your record week 1?
3-1.
3-1. So you're right there. You're 1 game behind the Chargers.
I mean, we're right there. We lost to the 49ers. I think it was just because we didn't adjust, our defense correctly, and
You didn't adjust to Kevin starts.
yeah, I mean, no, because Jordan and Kevin have a funny offense, man. They're running around in circles the whole time. And
But that's Kevin's offense every year.
yeah, and it works.
And it's part of Jordan's offense every year. I mean,
That's
I know
true.
they had Chris J at quarterback last year, but Jordan received a lot of handoffs.
Yeah.
Jordan likes to make things happen.
And he
That's
makes-
one of the
he
things
makes
I
it
respect about him as a captain. Like, he wants to be involved.
Oh, talent-wise, he's for sure a top captain.
He's also probably one of the most vocal captains
Oh yeah.
in regards to like, not yelling, but
Oh no, it's definitely yelling.
motivating his team.
Oh, he's in your face.
Yeah.
He's in your face type of player, and that's good. He expects his players to perform at a certain, at a certain level, and if you're not matching it, you're gonna get yelled at or traded. So it is what it is.
I know we spoke a little bit earlier, and there's going to be a little shameless plug about us, the Cowboys, against the Seahawks, but our first game is actually a really tough game as well. We play the Panthers, which is AJ and which is basically having 2 captains on the same team. Perez as their quarterback, Pepito and Christian Perez. That's going to be at the time that game is played, that it's our first game, which is be our 5th game. Up to that point, that will be the toughest game we have played up to that point, in my opinion. And that one's going to be a real dogfight. Real dogfight against the Panthers.
The Panthers look good this year, man.
The
So-
Panthers,
so
I
you-
believe, went 2-2. But remember that Pepito couldn't catch a cold last weekend. I don't expect that to be the case again. I mean, you can only have brick hands every so often,
Yeah, and
and
when
we've all
Pepito-
seen him perform better than that.
When he was playing with, I think he was on Drew's team. He was catching everything. He was catching up balls, diving catches.
So I
Yeah,
expect a bounce back from Pepito.
This is definitely his first time back on the field in a while.
True.
Yeah.
So I
He did take
mean,
some time off.
yeah, I mean,
Some rust.
not only rust, but that doubt in your head that you're gonna get re-injured, or that goes away in time. And they have all the right players in the positions. Vera at quarterback, he gets shitted on all the time, but he does his job, man. He does his job at Q. And AJ, I've never knew AJ before.
AJ is a dog.
He's definitely a dog. That man will put the team on his back.
Having Anthony H as your second best player is no.
Yeah,
Which is what I'm saying. They have 2 captains on their team.
What happened
There's
there?
no-
Why is Anthony not a captain this year?
I think it's
So there's a
because-
little bit of things going around that maybe he didn't want the leadership responsibility or whatnot, and maybe there was a player or two with a little bit less talent of his, but with more mature leadership qualities. Whatever the fact is, Ant is a dog. So that team is going to be a bitch
Yeah. I
with
think that
2
Ant-
tier 1s on that team, because Anthony is not a tier 2. I don't care where he's ranked, what he was.
I think that step down was maybe because of their success last season. Like it looked like PD took on more of like a captain role than Ant did. So I think maybe that's why in determining the rankings of the captains, maybe why he slid down a bit.
Could be.
And that whole drama.
surprisingly,
until-
the Bengals have been doing decent too, right?
The Bengals were 1-3, if I'm not mistaken. So, but the thing is, considering what PD did pre-draft,
PD, what happened, bro? Why did you do
I
that?
think he wasn't recovered from his hangover from Charlotte, and he went over here and just gave the fucking draft away to Pat.
Why did he give Pat? Like, what did he get in return? I didn't even understand the trade.
I know. I think Pat oiled him up with free season tickets to the Asian massage over there in West Palm, where Robert Kraft went to. I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If we're talking about teams that might need to make a trade later on, the Bengals will.
Bengals.
Well, the Bengals did make a trade, but I mean, I don't know.
Because Petey's a good
They
player.
traded Caesar for Brian O'Con. Brian O'Con is washed up. Guy has nothing to offer to any team except bitching and whining and fake injuries. So
I mean, honestly, you want some shit talking? I'm with you. One of my seasons, when I was traded from Joe on to back to the Browns that CC destroyed. Brian O'Con was traded with me, and he tried his hardest to get off the Browns as soon as he was there. And then when he noticed that he wasn't going to be there and Justin was going to miss, he had an unexpected wart pop up. And if he wouldn't have put in all that work to get off the team, I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, that worked. But if you're gonna put in all that work to get off the team and then last minute be like, oh, I can't make it, knowing that we were gonna go 0-4.
Bro, you missed it because there was I forgot who you replaced. Who was that you replaced?
Brian O'Con replaced Marcos Lopez.
Okay, so there was a big argument that Brian was better than Marcos and this and that, and Brian is such a successful. The DDPA got shitted on for that decision, but I don't like yeah.
I've seen Brian play when he played with Betta and Chris D, and Marcos athletically is much better than Brian O'Con. Brian O'Con might be smarter, he might be better flag puller maybe, but it was on the Bucks, right? That's the team. As long as Marcos had a good captain that would tell him how to do things, I would take Marcos over Brian. Brian has a lot more experience, but Marcos could take the top off of anybody and at least take like the safety with him and open up things, or be one-on-one on the outside with somebody.
And this should be a testament for Dunthio, like experience and IQ. That doesn't mean shit.
Okay, well no. I mean, look at Kevin. Kevin had a bunch of experience in IQ and won championships.
I think experience and IQ
has a lot to do.
Yeah, are very up there, man. Because being in the right position, it has a lot to do with it.
But having a captain that could teach you these things.
But what I'm saying,
I would rather take a little bit.
Let me caveat off what I was saying. I meant from the lower tiers, because they were saying Brian's IQ surpassed Marcos's talent wise.
Yeah.
And that
from a lower tier, like you don't need all that IQ.
You just need to listen.
Yeah. Unless you're running teams with like maybe the team with Julio and Marshall, where they're not going to be able to coach as much, then you would need that IQ. Because you're not going to have somebody telling you all the time what to do or how to do it.
But for the most part, all the captains that I've played with and what I've seen, they're going to put their lower tiers in the position to be successful. And and that's what you need from a captain.
I think this IQ talk can also go to your first pick, second pick, Shamir. He's an athletic, very athletic, but people were like, oh, he doesn't really know flag as much. How did that affect you guys? Do you think that his lack of intense football IQ?
The thing with the Falcons is I think Lulu is a great captain, and this is not to kiss his ass or anything, but
from passes,
from every practice, from every scrimmage, Lulu would take his time and send videos of him drawing on a board saying, hey, look, this is what we got to do, just so we're constantly learning.
Yeah. He
put Shamir in the right position to be a better defender. That first time we went out for practice, hey, this is what you're gonna do, and he put him in the right position, and you've seen Shamir's improvement over just 1 week.
Yeah. So I get IQ, and that plays a big role, but like athleticism. Look at Peaky taking Ham twice. He took him in the tournament when people didn't want him, and he took him again this season because that shows that as long as you have that massive leadership role and IQ up in the top, then you can teach your players and be successful.
But that's what I'm saying. That's to me what the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so
let me tell you,
also
playing with
has a bad taste in my
playing with Peaky is a whole different experience of flag football. I can tell you this from playing with him on Wednesday nights, and he makes me a lot better than even my overwhelming opinion of myself leads me to. He makes me a lot better than that, and it's just crazy how easy he makes the game for everybody. And
the perfect player to bring up is Manny Sardinas. Look at the season he had last season.
Yeah,
you're right.
So I mean,
and even in the tournament, he was throwing me dimes. Lazo's arm was in there. I was still getting the ball. Peaky was playing exactly where it has to be, and he'll tell you he had me running double moves and buying time. So he'll make anybody.
That's one thing about Peaky. Just because you're a tier 5 or a center or a slow guy, he's not gonna limit you to just darts and hitches. He's gonna pretty much make you run everything, call everything with you, and
he'll trust you.
He's a great experience. It's a great experience to play with that guy.
I want to get your perspective on the Falcons, Roger. What do you think? What do you think of us? Because we were shitted on.
How can I say, man?
I mean, after the draft, from leading up to week 1.
So I didn't get to see you guys play at all. due to the fact that one conference is playing at one time and the other conference is in the other time slot. And the only way to really get to watch you guys is by reffing your games. We didn't get any of them. And then a couple times we don't have to ref. Nobody wants to leave their tent.
Of course.
So to be honest with you, I didn't really get to. Now you have a bunch of high IQ guys. You have Lulu, the guy that Devin can't connect with for some reason. So I mean, you have a mismatch every time the ball snapped and your captain and Lulu there. And then you guys have guys with super high IQ with Matt, who's play quarterback. I'm sure he's getting a lot of handoffs, if not a lot of snaps. He's straight from you guys. You, who is a very high IQ tier 5. And then you got Manny E, who looks like he should be eating papas rellenas and croquetas under the tent at all times. But don't let the size or the way he looks fool you. The guy can play and has high IQ as well. So Shamir, I'm not really familiar with. But if Lulu drafted him, it's for a reason. For the most part, Lulu drafted the team he wanted to have. So I have no reason why you guys should not be successful. Hopefully this week I get to ref a couple of your games and be able to give you next segment a more educated opinion on your team. But I don't want to say one thing or the other without really watching you guys play.
I like that mature answer, man. That just shows the maturity in Roger, man. He has a great mentality for football, man. Great mentality.
If you guys had to choose one team, and Roger, and both of you, it can't be your team, that you think, based off of week 1 and how you perform, that would take it. Is there any team you think is just?
If we can take based off of week 1 equation out of it, and just because look, for example, based off of week 1, David's team doesn't look very good with a 2-2 record, the Dolphins. But you can't count out the back-to-back chance.
Let's take out the week 1, how they did week 1. If there's one team you look in the schedule and you were like, I would never want to play them in the championship.
So that makes it easier because that narrows it down to 10 teams because we can't face our conference in the championship.
Okay.
And once again, that transitions to my answer.
Give me one from each conference.
The Dolphins is one team I would not want to face in the championship because of their speed. It scares me.
And then who would you not want to face in your conference championship?
In our conference championship, I mean, obviously, the track record, the team he put around themselves, the way they played week 1, and after I just spoke about them, is the Seahawks and Peaky. Okay. You never want those guys to stand in your way to win something. But if it came down to it, he knows I'm going to give it my all and that my team, we're going to be dogs. He knows everybody on our team and we're full of dogs. And just like this week 2 now, this matchup this weekend is going to be a hard contested.
Yeah. I think I agree with the two teams that he chose.
Dolphins and Seahawks.
And just because the Dolphins, for the simple fact, David's been there.
Back-to-back
He's done
champ.
that. Back-to-back championship, Mr.
Yeah.
2-star himself.
He got me the star on my back.
Exactly. So I mean, he's gonna put his players in the right position, and I don't think I wouldn't want to see Beaky a championship, mentality. Beaky. He's just gonna play at a different level.
Especially with that sour taste from last season, losing to the 49ers
Exactly.
in the semis. Like
Exactly.
that's rough.
I mean, don't get it twisted. I'm not scared of anybody, but Beaky knows how to put his players in the right position. I could appreciate a player like Beaky. But I know for sure that Ham is probably going to get traded. So we gotta. You don't think Beaky moves Ham?
I mean, like
More than he's tried to already?
I'm not in it.
talking about that.
I'm not in the thick of it. I know like he did a lot of stuff to move Devin. Like he was trying to move Devin off the rip.
He had the perfect scenario last year. Joanne got hurt. The Steelers needed a quarterback.
Because he was trying to move Devin even before that. He could do the classic, hype up a player, give him a bunch of touchdowns, make him look real good, sell him high, which could happen. I don't want to say he's gonna just ship off Ham.
I didn't really see any of the Seahawks games, but every time I looked up, I seen Biggie try to throw a ball to Ham and they weren't connected.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know what
they connected well in the tournament. I was with them, but we'll see. But let's flip it. What are a couple of teams you think they're dead in the water? There's no chance.
I don't know much of Cheeky, but I think
That would be the obvious answer. The Bucks.
I think
Because
the
the
Bucks.
the fucking chaos they got going
They
on
have-
over
they
there
have
in
a-
that
they have a
clubhouse.
shit show.
Yeah,
That and
and
the Titans.
it sucks that Mo got hurt and stuff. But I feel like even if Mo was 100% healthy, the Bucks.
But at least Mo had structure, knows
That's
done
true.
deal. It would have been a fucking trash basket like it is now.
And the Titans, I would say.
I think the Titans are dead.
I just want to see who, and this is no offense to none of the players because you know me, I love everybody. But I want to see who takes control of that team. Who's gonna put that? Because they got the players, they got the talent there.
Now here, I have a question for both of you, and I'm not going to be involved in this answer. There's 2 4-0 teams. Out of those 2 4-0 teams, the Cowboys and the Chargers, who do you think has the longevity to go further in the
Cowboys. To me, that's an easy answer. And I mean, I'm not just saying that because Roger's sitting right next to me. I just think having 2 tier 5s is rough, man. There's a big drop off, and George is just he's a fucking beast, man.
George, you're my man, bro. The way you
He's
took
all
that
over
shit
the
back,
field. Bro.
mad
he's
props to
everywhere.
it. He is, and you know one thing about George, he might be rank 8, but there's not many players in tier 5 I'm taking before him because of his heart and how he's always going. Stop hustling, people. You don't suck. You're not the 80th ranked player.
I'll just play
Does he
devil's.
say that?
I think it's like a pride to be ranked last for him or something. I don't know, but
I'll
George.
throw a different point of view. I'm a firm believer in done deal. You'll only go as far as your quarterback takes you. And I'm not knocking Andy's quarterback play. He's proven he's 4-0. But with Eddie throwing the ball compared to Andy, I think Eddie throwing, obviously
Okay.
a captain throwing. And
I will say this, and I know it's gonna sound super biased. My best friend, my quarterback in grown-ups,
he's
my
looking for more
quarterback
passes.
now,
Andy. He wants
but
some more
Andy has drastically improved
His quarterback play.
his quarterback play between the end of last done deal season to now.
Has he attended the Johan quarterback camp?
No, that's why he's actually improved.
And then also the Chargers rushing attack. It's obviously proven that that's their strongest defensive play, is to make sure the quarterback only has.
I would put our
12
rusher up against anyone too.
seconds.
You got Rafa?
Rafa.
Rafa's a nasty rusher too.
Even
He
though
has
he
long
didn't
arms.
perform
He
week
could,
one.
oh, he might not have gone
He had
sacks,
2 sacks in week 1,
but a lot of people do.
That's
I mean,
not-
I'm used to him having like 4 or 5 sacks a week.
but he caused pressure. Look, the
Yeah.
INT I had was off of a really good pressure
yeah,
from him.
you don't need to get sacks as long as that quarterback.
You're rushing the quarterback.
Yeah, it's
No,
making
and
bad
that
plays.
makes the job easier on me, where I only have to cover. It doesn't even matter if I'm covering a tier 5.
You know what
I only have to cover him for X amount of seconds.
You know what the sad thing about being a rusher is? You don't know, like, if I don't watch none of your games, I don't know what
you did.
what
Yeah.
a good job he did unless there's sacks.
Yeah,
So unfortunately, you know, that's just rushing the quarterback is huge, man.
correct.
You do all the dirty work and none of the recognition
Exactly.
after the game, unless you have all those sacks.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
that's like the rushers, like motto. You rush all the time.
Yeah.
Now it's different because if a tier 5 can't apply pressure, you're not rushing. You're just gonna stick another tier 5.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like me, I haven't rushed in like 2 seasons.
Like last year,
Unless I
I
needed
rushed
to.
all season, and
You like rushing?
I like rushing, but I'm actually liking this covering thing too.
I
That's
like-
until the first time I get burned, and then we'll go from
I
there.
love covering compared to rushing.
But yeah,
Especially because on a tier 5, and even like when I played like last season against you and Ray, you really just have to cover them when the quarterback's looking at them.
Yeah.
Because nobody's gonna go through their progressions twice and look at the
Yeah.
tier 5 twice.
Unless you got a quarterback who's
yeah.
mobile as fuck.
Yeah, and that's why you need a rusher,
Yeah.
because now you just have to cover somebody for 2 to 3 seconds, and it takes them 1 second to get to you. So I don't know. I feel like the Chargers, they've obviously been doing something right. They don't go 4-0 by accident. So we'll see. And same thing with the Cowboys.
They got 2 good leaders on each squad, so it'll be interesting. I think definitely the Cowboys will make it deep into the playoffs, though. We'll see. Week 2 will give you a testament.
we'll see. And Andy, keep your play up, because I'll trade your ass.
Who would you trade him for?
It doesn't matter. Even if I have to
Anybody
trade
else.
him for Devin, but he better keep his play up.
You think that'd be even trade?
Andy for Devin, we might be getting a little upgrade, but who knows?
And
You know who I like on your team? Mark.
Pat's little brother.
That's Pat's little brother.
Yeah, man, that's Pat's
Bro,
little brother.
that kid is nasty. Every time I would look
He's our
up-
little hidden gem.
Yeah, every time I look up, he had like a pick or like a stupid.
So how
catch
about
or-
if I tell you that kid was the 5th pick of the draft and he was erroneously underdrafted?
So you think he is what?
He will be a captain next year, in my opinion.
Oh.
Who do you think is a captain now that shouldn't be a captain? Take out the people that are replacing Cat. But who do you think
Drew.
came in as a captain?
Okay, I'd rather put it this way. People that I think will excel more if they weren't in a captain role and a tier 2.
That's not exciting. Tell me who can't lead a team.
I don't know. I don't know if
It's tough because
I don't know if my answer is because they can't lead a team.
yeah, exactly.
I think my answer is because I think they will flourish more
Okay.
as the second
Like a
best
role-
player
like a
on
role
their
player.
team.
Because
Okay.
maybe they're physically
Which
not
is
there anymore.
Drew, Petey, and as much as I love my Ginger, maybe even Dusty falls into that category. And he led me, like, our downfall in the tournament wasn't because of leadership or none of that. To our wrap-up session, any last words about this upcoming week?
Bro, I'm excited, man, and I know the Falcons are gonna come out and keep on proving people wrong.
Stop plugging your team.
Lulu's a great captain.
It's a goal. I'm excited.
Are you coming out this weekend or not? That's the big
I
question.
could go for like the first couple games.
All
I'll
right.
be there. I'll be there the first couple games. I'll stop by here and get some breakfast.
You gotta let some of these youngins know who you are.
Yeah, I'll go out there and round up some people.
There you go.
Pre-game. I'm excited because week 2 is usually where all the new players, all right, they know what they're doing. They know what they got themselves
They know what
into.
to expect
Yeah.
more than anything.
So they usually tend to produce a little more. And there's a lot of captains that gotta prove themselves week 2.
No, most.
So that means, Chink, you actually have a chance to win a game this week.
Is Chink playing quarterback?
Chink on the Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they have Jesus running 4 strong. That's rough. Because Jesus sucks.
That's right. Joe is missing.
Joe's missing. You got
And
Jesus
it's not
running.
like they made an improvement with Robbie. I mean, Chink didn't even draft you, Robbie. That's all you got to think about. He traded for you because he felt sorry for you.
It's gonna be a rough week 2 for them.
I think Robbie's still a good player, man.
The best quality about Robbie is he's Dominican, baby.
All right, guys, that wraps up our session for this week.
See you
Tune in
guys next week.
Thanks, Lazo, for
Always
filming.
the GOAT.
Thank you.
Always.
The GOAT, Digi Lazo. Follow him on Instagram. Make sure you buy his shirts. Support.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come